A magical girl was so cute that an evil officer defected on the spot. Suddenly, a huge monster appeared in the city, and bystanders thought it was a movie scene, ready to post on TikTok. No one noticed a mascot resembling Kyubi climbing onto the shoulder of a white-haired girl. "Works here, Byakuya," it said. Yet another girl tricked into becoming a magical girl by a mascot. Byakuya pulled off her hair tie to transform, enduring a shameful close-up transformation, and ended up in a cute form, swiftly defeating the monster and confronting the evil strategist, vowing to stop his misdeeds. When strategist Mira saw Byakuya, his glasses shattered. Love at first sight. Due to the failed mission, Mira faced pressure from colleagues back home. Despite almost defecting himself, he insisted, "I wasn't charmed by that magical girl. I pretended to be mesmerized as part of my plan. Stop talking. I have my own pace." Days later, he met Byakuya again, determined to give her a gift. "Dude, you're not even pretending anymore," remarked a colleague. Byakuya happily accepted, and they even shared cake in a pavilion. She praised Mr. Mira's generosity, making him experience a real heart flutter. Mira, from an evil elite family and second in command to the evil king, realized his life was in chaos after meeting Byakuya. It must be her plot. Seeing Mira clutching his chest, Byakuya tenderly checked his temperature. After calming down, Mira wondered why Byakuya so easily accepted a gift from an enemy. Byakuya then shared her sad life story. She's been drinking only water all week. Since high school, Byakuya lived alone, working part-time and helping at an orphanage, too busy to eat, savoring the joy of saving money. Mira, moved to tears, immediately offered her another piece of cake and advised her to eat well. After all, defeating an unwell magical girl would disgrace their evil organization. Byakuya thought Mr. Mira was really kind. "Then, I'll send you a year's supply of rice," Mira responded. Then, another fruitless return to his office. Thinking of Byakuya's behavior when alone with him, Mira immediately threw a fit. After the fit, he reflected on himself. "I am the right hand of the evil king. I must investigate this enemy magical girl." He said this, but ended up ordering a girl's favorite fresh cheesecake. Eager, he brought it to Byakuya the next day. However, Byakuya collapsed because she was too busy to sleep. Mira couldn't help but ask why she pushed herself so hard. Byakuya then shared her tragic story. The orphanage she grew up in was about to be seized by land developers. At that moment, the evil mascot appeared, offering her two choices: become a magical girl to save the world and earn money or make money through unsavory means. Byakuya naturally chose the first option, only to later discover the mascot was in cahoots with the developers. Indeed, mascots these days are no good, even worse than Kyubey. After resting, Byakuya regained some strength. Mira, however, didn't want her to continue being a magical girl. Byakuya refused to quit this part-time job. "If someone has to do it, let it be me," she said. Most importantly, she met Mr. Strategist because of this job. Mira could only release his excitement by wildly punching a tree. "No, it's too cute," he exclaimed. He questioned Byakuya's motives and handed her a black card saying, "Take this. Will this do?" Still, he hoped Byakuya would reconsider not being a magical girl, as they would be enemies next time they met. And an arch-enemy cannot become a wife. Back home, Mira reflected again, knowing well that his reflection would only lead to buying another exquisite fruit tart that any girl would love. A high-ranking official of an evil organization uses his position to spy on a magical girl. Mira savors Byakuya's photos on his computer, but is interrupted by a subordinate offering tea and assistance in defeating the magical girl. Mira refuses without hesitation, as the magical girl is his alone. In a dark alley, a shady transaction is actually Mira buying desserts for Byakuya, who is late due to her late work shifts. She eagerly takes a bite of the pudding Mira hands her, instantly delighted, making Mira tremble with affection. Curious, he asks Byakuya how many jobs she has, and she indicates more than she can count on her fingers, with only the convenience store being a long-term job. Mira asks her to demonstrate her customer service, and Byakuya, holding the pudding, asks if he wants the bento heated. Her charming eyes melt Mira's heart, and he accidentally breaks the teapot. Then Mira requests Byakuya to talk to him in her magical girl persona. She transforms and descends in her magical girl dress, looking like a goddess to Mira, who immediately pulls out his camera for another shot. Worried Byakuya might tire of desserts, Mira invites her for lunch next time, forgetting their rivalry. Noticing his scorched sleeve, Byakuya offers to mend it. Shocked, Mira thinks it's a marriage proposal since such tasks are typically reserved for spouses. But Byakuya simply mentions her skill in mending. As Byakuya mends his clothes, she shares that she uses repaired old clothes as homeware. Mira, moved, offers to buy her new clothes with his black card. Byakuya refuses, explaining her money is managed by a creature that also arranges her jobs and even made her business cards. Mira is appalled to find she's been sent to escort services by this creature. Byakuya finishes sewing a flower on Mira's sleeve, feeling her job as a magical girl isn't as hard as it seems, especially with such a gentle enemy strategist. Mira stubbornly maintains it's all for their dignity, leading to the rhetorical question, what dignity do you have left now? Back at the evil organization, Mira is welcomed by his subordinates lining up. Everyone noticed the patch on his sleeve, stirring emotions within. Staring at them, Mira made them stand at attention immediately. What about the patch? Do you have one? However, Mira started to reflect on his actions, realizing that he couldn't set a good example for his subordinates if he continued this way. After all, he was supposed to be a model of evil. With tears, he sealed the clothes away in a closet. The next day, he led his subordinates to invade Earth, spreading slime wildly in the sky while checking on their work. He was relieved not to be affected by strange emotions today, but then he saw Byakuya bound by slime. Overwhelmed and unable to resist, Byakuya was also struggling, about to be defiled by the slime. Mira used a powerful move to eliminate the slime he had released himself, and gently landed with Byakuya in his arms. Seeing Byakuya covered in slime, Mira felt like he was going to explode. Despite releasing the monster himself, he couldn't help but save her. Mira then draped his coat over Byakuya, who commented, "The coat is so warm," which inadvertently triggered another powerful reaction from Mira. He thought she was using this tactic to make him lose his will to fight, but it was incredibly effective. Moreover, Mira now knew where Byakuya lived. Byakuya was truly grateful and comforted that he kept wearing the clothes she had mended. Although he had planned to change into new ones once home, Mira stubbornly said it wasn't necessary this time. Byakuya thought to herself that the strategist was indeed gentle, and said, "Goodbye, gentle evil strategist." Mira, with a bittersweet expression, replied, "Goodbye, magical girl." As soon as Byakuya got home, she heard the creature's voice. "Yo, Byakuya, that coat you're wearing is very classy." Meanwhile, Mira began sorting information about Byakuya, but all he managed to print was Byakuya's name. Mira's obsession with magical girls has spread to other leaders of the evil organization. During a leadership meeting, they questioned Mira about it. Mira assured them not to worry, as everything was going according to plan. While speaking, he received a call. The others felt he was reliable and saw him as a brilliant and ruthless strategist within the organization. Unknown to them, Mira was discussing which steak to send to Byakuya with the waiter on the phone. Mira, no longer satisfied with just sending food, also brought Byakuya a bouquet of roses. In return, Byakuya gave him a handmade artificial flower. Mira was worried about her heavy workload, but her kindness deeply moved Byakuya, who couldn't stop staring at her, making Mira tremble with excitement. Unbeknownst to him, Byakuya was looking forward to seeing Mira again. Meanwhile, at home, a little creature was furiously typing on a computer after finishing a beer can. Byakuya looked over and saw a video of her last battle with a slime, featuring a magical girl tightly bound by tentacles. On another occasion, Mira's colleagues invited him to a bar, but he was fixated on the flower Byakuya had given him, worried that the little creature might deceive her. Suddenly, he saw Byakuya sitting next to him, pouring him a drink. Surprisingly, the magical girl seemed to be accompanying him for drinks. Byakuya felt uneasy seeing her distressed appearance. Mira took her out, gave her his coat, and Byakuya told him she felt like she was being made into an adult video to be sold. This statement made Mira's eyes emit a terrifying red glow, and the surroundings seemed to collapse. Byakuya urged him to calm down. Mira wanted the little creature to understand how terrifying it is to oppose the evil organization. He took Byakuya home, listed the creature's misdeeds, and the creature lit a cigarette, claiming to be a guide for magical girls. It stood up, clearly hiding someone inside its form. The creature was arrogant, pulling Byakuya close and claiming all her glory as a magical girl, and her earnings were his. Even claiming Byakuya herself, but she had to remain pure for now. Before it could finish, Mira grabbed it by the head. However, such creatures do not understand the concept of death, and it declared it would always haunt Byakuya. Mira decided to report to his superiors. Byakuya, grateful for being saved again by Mira, invited him to stay for dinner. Mira instantly crushed his phone. It was a meal cooked by Byakuya herself. He looked forward to what she would cook for him, and it turned out to be the premium steak he had given her. Byakuya was relieved to see Mira enjoy the meal, as he hadn't eaten during their previous date, leading her to think he might not be able to eat. Mira then shared that his mother used to cook for him as a child, to which Byakuya remarked what a good mother she was. This led her to share her experiences growing up in an orphanage, which made Mira feel even more sympathetic, wishing he could support her fully. After a satisfying meal, Mira prepared to leave. Byakuya said she would send his coat to the dry cleaners, but Mira, not wanting her to spend the money, wore it himself. Byakuya blushed, seeing Mira in his coat, as she was used to seeing him in it every day. Mira took off the coat and tried to give it back, but Byakuya refused. After Mira left, Byakuya couldn't help but hope they would meet again the next day. Meanwhile, Mira received bad news. A not-so-bright blonde colleague had been assigned to assist him in combating magical girls. Mira thought to himself that the magical girl was his alone, wondering if he should eliminate this new colleague first.